Welcome to my first episode of Answering My Followers' DMs. This is the first episode of the series. I've been getting a ton of comments and DMs on my content, so I thought I'd just make a series of it, and hopefully it will help other people. So I'll basically be doing this in one cut, little edits, and yeah, hopefully this helps you or somebody that's watching this. So let's get into it. All right, so today's question is, hey, what's up, bro? I saw your video about VOO and QQQM. You explained it really well. Your videos give solid advice. Thumbs up emoji. They do overlap. Do you have any recommendations for a Roth IRA? I just opened one up. My portfolio is currently in VOO, VXUS, VTI, QQQM. Do you have any recommendations? Much appreciated. All right, first of all, thank you for the question. So it looks like this person just opened up the Roth IRA and they're just curious about if they're, putting their money in the right place, which is a totally valid concern. So let's break it down. So they have VOO, which is a fund that tracks the S&P 500, which is the top 500 companies by market share in the US. And then VXUS, which is a fund that tracks international markets. They have VTI, which is a fund that tracks the total US markets. So this includes small cap markets and mid cap markets. And then QQQM, which is a fund that tracks heavy tech stocks, basically. This comment was in response to a video I made on TikTok, which basically covered how I was seeing a lot of finance TikTokers, finance influencers talk about how they recommend putting your money into just VOO and QQQM. And to that, I was basically disagreeing because VOO and QQQM overlap a lot. And so let me explain a little bit about that. The top holdings for VOO are mainly comprised of the big tech companies. So think Google, Microsoft, Amazon, Apple. And the top holdings for QQQM are also in the top tech companies, right? So there's a ton of overlap. You're basically buying the same fund twice. They perform super similarly. I would recommend just going for VOO because you get a little bit more diversifications with the other companies in the S&P 500. That brings me to my first point, which is putting anywhere from 70 to 80% of your money in your account into VOO or VTI. The differences are extremely negligible. They don't matter to an average person at all. Just choose one, VOO or VTI. I'll choose for you. Just go with VOO. Just go with VTI, I mean, and set it, forget it. Okay. Next is this person also has some of their money in VXUS, which is a fund that tracks international markets, right? And this is a great decision on this person's part. The reason for that is because diversification, right? So historically, the S&P 500, US markets have outperformed any other market in the world, but nobody can predict the future. We don't know if it will continue to outperform, which is why we want to diversify into other markets. So VXUS tracking international markets is a great choice here. I would recommend putting anywhere from 20 to 25%. Personally, that's what I do. I'd put anywhere from 20 to 25% of your portfolio towards an international market fund and set it, forget about it. So this brings me to my last point, which is if you're heavy in VTI, you don't need to worry about this last point. But let's say you're heavy in VOO, which means you don't have a lot of exposure into mid cap markets and small cap markets. So, what do I mean by mid cap markets? A mid cap market is basically companies that have a market value anywhere from $2 to $10 billion. And a small cap market is companies that have market value anywhere from $300 million to $2 billion. This is related to my last point because I personally put anywhere from 5 to 10% of my money into a fund that tracks one, a mid cap market, and two, a small cap market. So, an example of a mid cap market fund is VO and a small cap VB. So just to recap what we covered in today's video, one, putting 70 to 80% of your money into a fund that tracks US markets such as VOO or VTI. Two, putting anywhere from 15 to 20, anywhere from 15 to 25%, honestly, based on your risk tolerance, into a fund that tracks international markets. And then lastly, if you have no exposure into mid cap and small cap markets, putting your money into a fund that tracks either of those. Thanks for watching. I hope you learned something if you didn't know any of the information I covered today. And yeah, if you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to me on TikTok or Instagram. Just DM me directly or just leave a comment on this video and I'll make sure to get back to you. Thanks.